Hello, my name, for those of you who don't know me, is Chris Nicolay, and I launched something called Storyworks in September last year. Part of the purpose of Storyworks is to advocate for the role and place and usefulness of stories in the quest for a just world. And stories have a way of working that is different from ordinary politics, is different from ordinary economics. And I think it has ways of assisting us with resilience, courage, hope, and remembering, putting the past or the present together. It also aids us in what the writer Starhawk has talked about as the fifth sacred thing, the spirit, however you might see that. I've been told that making a video in this way is not the most professional or slick, if you like. I have other films that somebody else has made for me that, yeah, they do look very good, but this I'm doing because a story occurred to me and I wrote it over the last few weeks, and I wanted to get it to as many people as possible. And I'm obviously nervous about doing that. So this story occurred to me a few days after the banning of or the prescription of a renowned and successful non-violent direct action group, around which there are ongoing concerns and actions. Thinking about this story this morning, I thought that, is it a parable? Is it a myth? I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm going to read this because I haven't yet committed it to memory, and I may not ever do that because I always find that hard. So forgive me, I occasionally look down and take this as it is. It is necessarily occasionally grim. It is not meant to be just a narrative. I don't write like that. So I offer this story as a contribution. The story is called The Occupier Falls. There is an immense and terrible white-skinned, almost naked ogre that sits on a mountain of bones, bodies, bent iron and broken cement. Its limbs, face and chest are laced with rivulets of blood and other dribbled liquids. Its cheeks are pierced in places by the small bones of children's arms and legs, a hideous jewellery. Grinning, it reveals teeth capped with steel, chewed remnants of the casings of exploding ordnance its servants fling with glee, never needing permission. Its buttocks crush anyone that remains alive nearby, pushing them deeper into rubble and other bones and indescribable objects of horror. It is unaffected by the fires that burn around it. What is it for? It is only there to maintain itself and to keep growing. It's continuing the enactment of a long-devised, relentless plan. In its past, something happened that somewhere it remembers as full of pain and screams and fire. It never wanted to look at it again, but chose to let it turn to an oozing wound deep in its belly. Useful as a tool and justification, there was a time when help was offered. The offerers walked away in despair. Thus, it is now as it is. What is it called? Its true name is hidden. If spoken, the ogre would die, like abusers often do everywhere. So, for now, it is sufficient to say it is named as a creature of cruelty, starvation, and a voracious appetite for power. There are many like it, but this, for now, is the worst. Its servants, equally vile, love it. Others, distantly related, live beyond the borders of the land of the vile mountain, but they share in the profits of the feasting and protect the ogre from harm. It's valuable to them. The mountain is in the middle of a place, a country that thrived. Not everyone who lives there has been destroyed or consumed. Yet. They have learned surviving, hope in the midst of the ogre's tyranny. They tunnel to live. They also walk boldly in the open. They harvest small crops when they can in secret corners. There are constructed avenues, covered avenues to borders where goodness and nourishment is smuggled in. Though that's hard. Despite everything, why should they leave? Mainly they help each other, though some break and lash and steal. Despair exists, but sometimes despair itself despairs and flees, disempowered by hope's maintenance. Now, for a moment, to expand the view outward. Just as there are secret ways for the remaining people to aid themselves, so the ogre has for itself necessary routes for vital supplies of tools of butchery. Great tubes of shining metal emerge from the ground around the mountain. Underneath there are caverns of stores of death. These tubes are octopian and swirl and crawl out and away to where the ogre's friends and relations have their own servants in gleaming manufactories. Lands away from the stench. Just innocent sorry, but I didn't know engineers, operators, traders and suppliers. Oh, and makers of law, so that everything is, of course, completely well, legal and contracted, and to those without kindness perfectly correct. Now there comes a day on which, despite its power, things begin to go wrong for the ogre. Not all in one go, but the ogre becomes perturbed, and its subterranean growl and rumble reach the ears and toes of the remaining citizens of the wilderness. Not knowing why, some smile, others quietly gather axes, picks, crowbars, cutters, welders, and sharp-edged spades, and sit waiting with their friends, longing to use their long-practiced skills and power once more. It had begun elsewhere, and initially the ogre didn't know. Away where the shining tubes reached the manufactories, there were people who had heard and felt the suffering of the wilderness. Knowing the pain, they dressed in blood red. With axes, picks, crowbars, cutters, welders and sharp-edged spades, they break the gates, smash the windows, dig at cables and foundations. Paint is spilled as blood. Machines for measuring, counting, making and delivering are shattered. Workers previously content with their task are prevented from continuing. Some are glad. The money slobberers of all kinds look to their wallets and pretend contrition. The first of the shining tubes becomes almost unfilled, quiet. The ogre's servants under the mountain notice the silent shelves begin to be empty. A battle has begun, and as ever with goodness, there will in the end be just one victor. The Rota Brigade, as they call themselves, continue their loving wrecking. The powers that profit from the ogre's feast hate them. Some are disappeared, buried behind bars. Still others come, often laughing, with fear but fearless. Bolder in the night and in the day, some rip the tubes into tatters, using stolen giant digging machines with sharp tooth-bladed buckets, previously destined for wrecking homes in the wilderness. The destruction accelerates though. Like any battle, it ebbs and flows. The ogre's defenders are powerful and grim. Still, more is broken, less is delivered. The ogre's avenues of transport are destroyed, the manufactories disabled. Realizing and loathing what is happening, and in a spasm of fury, the ogre stands but trips over its hanging flesh and falls humiliated. It's then that the waiting people with tools begin their task. The storehouses are taken and prepared for people needing shelter. The weapons are, just in case, repurposed for defence. The servants have run. The ogre itself is surrounded and thinks begging will help. It doesn't. And the first axe falls in a silent, purposeful vengeance and execution. Thank you for listening. In the next few days, the script for this story will be available on www.story-works.co.uk. It's written, if you want to be told out loud. If you do that, please just credit Storyworks and therefore me. And again, thank you for listening.